The Acclaimed, top of the chain, so I bet you know the name. Are the Acclaimed better off going to the WWE? Well, we're going to talk about that, but before we do, smash that like button and subscribe. Come join the fastest growing wrestling community safe space that there is on YouTube, bar none. It's Rob, the wrestling old head. Enter the vortex, open the portal, tell a friend to tell a friend, and come on in. We got everything that you need as far as wrestling goes, and we got snacks, we got drinks. We're going to have a party. Everybody has a good time here. Come on in. It's nice and warm in here, guys. We talk about it all here, and there's nothing off the table. So like and subscribe for more. Now, let's get into it. Are the Acclaimed Max Caster and Anthony Bowens being underutilized in AEW, and are they better suited for the WWE? I remember when I first saw them, it was really hard to distinguish, and I don't mean this in a necessarily bad way, but I gotta be honest. It was Private Party and the Acclaimed around the same time. And the Acclaimed were a rap group tag duo, and the Private Party were a party duo. And it just kind of seemed like they were doing kind of like a similar shtick. And AEW did a lot of that. When they first started, it was a lot of these similar gimmicks that everybody kind of had to fight to get like separated from and find their own unique voice and rhythm. And I remember looking at Max Caster and Anthony Bowens and going like, these guys are really green. And some of their matches just kind of came off cookie cutter, like they were still practicing and training. And that was when I first saw them. Fast forward to today, they have learned so much in so little time. And I'm sure that it is because they are clinging to Billy Gunn, who is a wrestling legend, Hall of Famer, who has done so much in this business, who I'm sure they have been picking the ear and learning all of the tricks of the trade from. And they've gotten a lot of their stuff over to the point of being pretty much superstars at this point. Now, I will say this, very impartial Marshall is me. I'm not going to shit on any professional wrestling company to the point of like going like I'm pro WWE or I'm pro AEW. But I will say the one thing that they did drop the ball on is the Acclaim, because they were very popular for a long time. And I believe it all started when they didn't call the audible and give the Acclaim the win over Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. I think it was a Double or Nothing, but I'm not sure what event that was. But the crowd wanted it. Everybody wanted it. Everybody loved the Acclaim, legitimately loved the Acclaim. And they didn't pull the trigger. And then they pulled the trigger later at Arthur Ashe Stadium. And it was kind of too late. So I believe it might have been All Out, actually. Might have been All Out. And they didn't pull the trigger. And they ended up doing it again at Arthur Ashe Stadium. And it just didn't have the same oomph that it could have had. And then they didn't know how to follow up on the momentum of the Acclaim. Maybe they expected Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, still relatively new to the business, to find that oomph to get them over the hill and keep that momentum going, but it didn't happen, and they squandered, and they got into close to obscurity. They didn't have anything for them, and I've seen it happen with Wardlow. I've seen it happen with other wrestlers in the AEW, and I won't get into it, but it's happened, and now they're fighting their way back up to the top, and they're just not as popular, and that's just the truth. And I've said other places, and I'll say it here, that I think they're better off at this point splitting up, giving Anthony Bowens a face run, and having Max Caster as a heel. I think Max Caster would be a phenomenal manager, heel manager, because he talks a lot of shit and he does it really well, and he's very charismatic. I think in the ring, though, Anthony Bowens can play a face in peril better than I've seen a lot of the young guys do, and I think he's got the fire in him to cut a great promo, and I think he's really good in the ring. I think he would do great in a solo run with a face run. That's just my opinion. And like I said, Max Caster, douchebag. So but I mean that in the best way. I mean that with all due respect. And he can play it really well. And I think that they would do good like that. And then eventually they can get back together and hey, maybe they'll be as popular as they were before the AEW fumbled the ball. But as it stands, based on the topic of conversation, do I think they'd be better off in WWE? And I must be honest, I do. And here is why. Because they wrestle a very WWE-esque style. They're big guys. They are under the tutelage for all that I know, of Billy Gunn, who is a WWE wrestler. He came from the WWE system. So I think inputting them in NXT, for example, would be perfectly suited for them. I think that is what they need to do at this point. And they can always go back to AEW. But as it stands right now, their journey to the top, it has to be in a company that will understand the momentum they have and capitalize on it. And it's all in due part to the system that the WWE has. It would be no one person. You would give Shawn Michaels, if it was in NXT, or Triple H, if it was in WWE, the credit. But to be honest, it's a team. And there's a lot of guys in the board, a lot of guys in the booking that would be responsible for getting them to that point. And I think they need that. And I think they need to get seasoned in that regard. I think Ricky Starks needs that. I think Wardlow needs that. Hell, I think Hook needs that. I think they all need that. And I'm not faulting AEW for that. I just don't believe that they have the system set up for stuff like that. They'll do great. AEW does great with wrestlers that are already established. Somehow, and I don't know how, but MJF is the only one that was able to break through and capitalize on his own momentum. But I think it's rare to be able to do that. And I think it's because MJF was programmed with Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, and he listened to them, and he is a student of the game. And I think he capitalized on that momentum. And I don't know of any other wrestler in AEW, and please let me know if I'm wrong in the comments, that has capitalized on the momentum that has been given to them in AEW other than MJF. And you guys can let me know if I'm wrong. Hey, tell me when I'm telling lies, but that's what I see. So, long in and short of it all, AEW, they had a chance with the Acclaimed, and maybe they can get them back on track. But until then, I'm going to say that the best place for them would be the WWE, or to split them up and let's see how they can do solo and then maybe put the band back together. But that's what I think. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. What did you think of this topic? What did you think of the fact that the Acclaimed are possibly splitting up? Do you think that's a good idea? Or do you think they can get their momentum back and be the top tag team in AEW again? Or do you think they're better off in WWE? You guys let me know in the comments. Thanks again for listening. Thanks for subscribing. You have opened the portal. You have entered the vortex. This is Rob, the Wrestling Old Head, the wrestling community safe space that is designed specifically for you. See you soon, everybody.